What is going on, everyone? Stevo Supremo here, and I am just another game collector. And today we are taking a trip down memory lane, and we are talking about rental locations, Blockbuster, Hollywood, video, family video, whatever you had in your area. That's what we're going to be talking about. And I have a few games here that are either from rental locations or I have a memory from renting it from a rental locations. But I have a long history with Blockbuster. That's going to be the main one I'm talking about here today, just because of the connection I have with it. Before we dive too deep into the games and stuff here, mainly my biggest connection with Blockbuster is I actually worked there. I worked at Blockbuster in 2006. It was a second gig part-time job from my original job. I was working full-time. I was trying to make as much money as I could. My original job, it's like pretty much paying minimum wage, so I'm just trying to make it any way I can and get some side work. And Blockbuster, like a video store location, was always like a dream job to kind of always work. I remember watching that show Dawson's Creek. My sister used to love to watch it every week. And it's one of those things where, as the brother, you're sitting there like, oh, this show's coming on again. Why are we watching this? And then you just start kind of watching it yourself and kind of getting attached to it too. It's like husbands these days, when your wife's watching something, you're like, what kind of stupid show are you watching? And then you kind of sit down and start getting into it. And one of the lead characters, I guess Dawson, in that show, worked at a video store. I was like, man, that'd be so awesome to just work at a video store. And sure enough, I did. So in 2006, I got a job there. And you know what? It was an awesome time. I will post some pictures here. You guys will see me with some coworkers there from 2006 where we worked there. Had a great time working there. It was a blast of a job. It actually paid me more than my main job, which was crazy. But I was getting ready to go into law enforcement around that time too. So I had to eventually hang up the reins from Blockbuster. But really cool memories there. I remember working there pretty much every weekend and even times during the weekdays, and not just the coworkers and like the friendships you get while we had working there, but more importantly, I met my wife there. And we've known each other since 2006, got married in 2007, and we've been rolling along ever since. So Blockbuster truly means a lot to me. And I just had such great memories there with not just like customers and everyone coming in, but just a work experience. I was the guy when there were video games that had to be tested. We would get, of course, people would rent games and then they would say they didn't work and they would bring them back, and our manager would start collecting a pile of the games. And then I would, every like once or twice a month, I'd go in the back office for a couple hours and I'd just get to sit there and play video games. I was the tester. I got to put them in and play through them and see if those games actually work or played, or if the customers were just lying so they could get their money back. So, ton of memories of sitting back in that back office playing tons of Xbox, PlayStation 2 games, because that's around the time where those systems were the ones that were really what we had on the shelves. We didn't really have anything else, no cartridge-based stuff or anything around those times. But it was awesome. I also remember doing cool little challenges for myself. If any of you guys remember going to a Blockbuster or anything, you always have snacks. You have your snacks sitting up at the front. We would try to upsell people on things. Sometimes we had these certain specials we were having, and we're trying to see how many we could sell because we could get bonuses and everything if we were able to do so. But I would challenge myself personally with some items. I remember, never forget, we had a pickle. It was like a huge pickle that you could buy, and no one ever bought this pickle, guys. And to me, it was so weird. Like, here we have big bags of M&Ms, we have big bags of sour candy, Sour Patch Kids, and all these other classic movie treats, and then right beside them is a giant pickle. And I said, you know what? I even told the manager, like, because she worked the morning shift and I was coming in for the evening. And one of my coworkers I forget who was working with me that night. I can't remember if it was my wife or not, or another person who was there. But I said, I'm going to sell those pickles tonight. She's like, what? She's like, yeah, I'm sick of like seeing these pickles out here and no one buys them. I'm going to do my best to see how many pickles I can sell. And guys, I'm not kidding you. It went from I had never sold a pickle in my life there, maybe one or two on the off occasion. But on that Friday night, I sold 18 pickles within a 5 hour. Well, hold on. I came in at 5 and worked till midnight on Friday. So, within a 7 hour shift, I sold 18 giant pickles. And I just always pat myself on the back for that, like for being able to sell all these people these giant pickles. So, it was awesome. Again, great memories of putting on movies that shouldn't be on the TV screen. We would put Anchorman on, and people would be walking in and probably hearing things you shouldn't with your kids walking around. But we were just having a great time back then. It was awesome. You could have, as workers, employees, we'd have our recommended movies section, and I always was like, it was always a cool feeling when someone would go to my section and pick out a movie and rent it out and everything. So awesome, incredible memories just from working there. And unfortunately, again, like I said, I started getting into my future career that I was heading into full time, and I couldn't juggle both jobs, so I had to let it go. And like, sadly, 2 months after I left that job, Blockbuster went under. Like, so I always took credit for like, hey, they lost me, so the whole place just like closed down. I joke with my wife about that, but anyways, really incredible memories from working there. But when it comes from game wise, like the reason you're seeing these is because this actually is a Blockbuster video game. This Castlevania Bloodlines. This game here is from some rental place called Video City. Uh, a lot of times people, especially back in the early days of collecting, they hated these stickers and stuff on their items. I always loved it. I always loved having the stickers. I keep price tags on my items, guys, because it's like it captures that moment in time of when I got it. How much was this item when I originally purchased it? When you see a game that's $80 now and you see the $9.99 price tag on it, it brings back that memory of where you got it, how much you spent on it. So I'm cheesy like that when I keep items like this. And the stickers and stuff like the Blockbuster, again, it just shows like its roots, where this game came from. This game was a rental from Blockbuster. Who knows how many hands had touched it and were able to play through Castlevania Bloodlines back in the 90s. They rented this out. How many people conquered this game? Or how many people were like, man, this game is too tough, and they had to put it away. And the journey it went on, it's just incredible to me. So I love keeping stuff like that. The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, the reason you're seeing this here is because that's the biggest memory I have of actually renting a game from Blockbuster. Again, dirt poor growing up. And finally, around the time the 64 came out, my mom had remarried a person who actually made some pretty good money. And during that time, I did get a Nintendo 64 for Christmas. And a couple weeks after Christmas, we went out and went to a rental store, and I got Ocarina of Time. That was the most vivid memory I ever have of renting a game from a game store was Zelda. And pretty sure I kept that thing because I do not remember returning it, and because I could not finish a game like that in a week. It was just too much on the plate. So awesome memory there with that. But more often than not, the only times I ever went to Blockbuster were with my dad. My parents got divorced when I was really young, and when my dad would get us on the weekends, we would go to Blockbuster or the local video rental place, and he'd let us pick out a movie, and he would pick out a movie for himself, and we'd go to his house, and at some point during that weekend we would watch it. And I remember watching so many classic films that was introduced to me because of my dad. Classic 80s movies, Predator, Alien. One that really sticks out to me that I told my wife the other day that we need to watch because I think she'd love it is Bird on a Wire with Mel Gibson and Goldie Hawn. Like, all these movies he would always rent and I would see, and those are vivid memories that I have of like rental places. So let me know what you guys think. Do you actually miss it though? When you think back, it was a moment. You're going out, you're getting your family together. It's an occasion. It's not just a quick trip. You might have to drive 15, 20 minutes to the place, depending on where you live if you're back in the country. And then you're going to make this journey out to the rental store. You're probably going to get yourself some snacks and everything to bring back home so you can enjoy these movies in a weekend. It was just when you're going out, it's like a signal like, hey, it's the weekend. It's time to relax and have fun. So it was just like the welcoming call to the weekend. But it took a lot of time. Like, you had to go out, get all your kids ready, go out to this place to try to find a movie, and then you get your kids arguing because you can't agree on anything to watch. And it becomes a pain and a headache. And then people start, like, I remember back in those days, it'd be so awesome to just be able to have it right. You could have it on your screen like the streaming services now and just be ready to go. And then when YouTube and everything started exploding, it really made that dream like, oh man, this is going to happen one day. We're just going to be able to push a button and the movie we want to watch is going to be on our TV. We're not going to have to worry about any of this stuff going out anymore. You guys, I think back in the day, we were wanting these, what do you say, these conveniences. We were wanting these things desperately. But then you fast forward to the future, you do kind of, you miss like the effort and the experience that you had to go through back then at rental stores. So I was asking my wife, like before I made this video last night, I was like, hey, this is my topic for tomorrow. Do you actually miss it? And she started going through like, oh man, it was so fun. Yes, I missed that. I was like, well, but you got to think about our parents. Do they miss it? Did they miss having to go return those items every time or not remembering to return them and then having to get late fees and everything on their account? I'm pretty sure they hated that. And as an employee working there, I could tell you some of the anger that comes out of people when they want to return their items. So, yeah, I think we all have great feelings as kids and everything going in there and wanting to rent and just walking through the store and all seeing all the selections you could get. But parents and everything, I mean, they were wanting the conveniences that we have today. And it's just kind of strange how when you come full circle and you get those conveniences that you just want to kind of take a step back sometimes and wish that you had the old that can replace the new. So what do you guys think? Let me know your comments below, your thoughts of rental stores, any great memories that you have of them, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.